What would you say you like most about writing songs?
Um, I think it is just the feeling of letting something kind of come through you and when it goes well to be able to document that feeling and those sounds you start hearing inside your head and the lyrics that all of that evokes. And um, it's a really, I really like going through that. I love it.
Hmm. What would you say are some of the most important like qualities or traits for a professional songwriter to have?
Um, Listening, patience, um, open mindedness, um, and expression.
Hmm. Can you talk to me about anything you found that's helpful to help get you into the kind of mind state where you feel like you can, kind of create your best work?
I think, well, I get ideas and melodies just at various odd times. And I think, but you have to set aside the time to then finish it
Mhm.
and bring it to life. Or you have to set aside this time where you're giving yourself that opportunity. But I mean, you can get ideas anywhere, and at odd moments, and you have to write them down. Or I always sing my melody ideas now into my phone. It used to be a cassette recorder, and then those little portable, uh, you know, dictaphone things. So now it's my phone on the dictation app. And I find a lot of times lately, um, they'll come 6:30 in the morning, whatever, before I get out of bed. And sometimes, and then sometimes it's at night. Sometimes it's when I'm driving or uh, having a conversation with somebody. I never know when a song idea is going to come. I had a couple today. I'm at a bluegrass conference in Raleigh, North Carolina, right now called IBMA. We had the Americana conference last week, and this week it's the bluegrass one. And so I had a couple of melodies come to me earlier today when I got up, and I put one thing down on guitar, just half of it. I'm still missing the other half. Sometimes I'll get a verse or a chorus. I'll know it's like, okay, yeah, this is a verse, or okay, this is the chorus. So now I've got to go back. And so the challenge is, as a touring musician a lot, is to find those times when you're not um, having to do life stuff or music biz stuff that occupies so much time to actually, get all of that finished. A lot of times I will it's when I've talked to other people, like, they said, I need a deadline. So for me, they're talking about themselves, saying that, like, I'll say, hey, let's get together and do this kind of song for this type of project. They say, great, yes, hey, I really need a deadline.
Mhm.
So for years, that's kind of been true for me with a lot of different projects I do, at least the ones that are my own things, is to actually have that studio time booked and the players booked. And I know I must come up with something really worthy to record, something that is good enough to make a difference. And not just something of like, oh, thank goodness I've come up with enough things to eat up this time and, not waste these great musicians' time. I've given them something to
Something
record,
that's
but
worth it.
yeah, but you've got to, I think all of us have to do that when we record. We have to challenge ourselves to try to make magic.
Mm, mm. I'd love to hear you talk about what some of your favorite characteristics are of the people you most admire to work with. Like what types of people do you most love working with, both in the business sense but also playing with?
I think, playing wise, there's just so many great musicians that um, I think we kind of have a common link thread, and it's I'm just more and more I see that. Like, this week at this bluegrass thing, there are so many. We kind of speak the same language. We grew up listening to this catalog of bluegrass songs, so somebody can start the song, then people can just jump right in. They know the song, they know how to improvise on it, maybe play something a little different or sing it with a slight variation or sing it like the original. Um, and that I really get a joy out of that. And then to write for that.
Hmm.
A lot of times when I make a record, I will, have a specific uh, purpose or goal in mind of like, okay, I'm getting ready to do this new album with the Poe Ramblin' Boys. They're a traditional bluegrass band. Working with Ralph Stanley, he was had his own sound, very distinct sound, and I knew that I needed to write within those parameters for him so that it worked for him. It sounded like him. Um, uh, Somebody like Robert Hunter, who I think about every day. I really feel so fortunate to have known him. And when I sing the songs we wrote together, uh, I seem to find more and more depth to his lyrics when I sing them, or something new that just I marvel at. And I was always in awe of him, being around him, and it took me a while to um, get comfortable and relaxed enough around him. Not that uh, he was a very open guy, but he was just, because it was him and uh, of his greatness. It was well, it was real inspiring, and it was just a wonderful experience.
Can't even
Yeah.
imagine. What do you think others might say in the same line of thinking about you working with you?
Well, I think, and I don't know if I'll ever get past this feeling, but I still feel like I am finding that. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really conscious, or I don't think that really about um, my stuff. I kind of am trying to go to the next thing so much that I don't reflect much on my own stuff, but I'm kind of caught up in what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
I do, I've this brand new album with the Poe Ramblin' Boys. I have been uh, listening to it a lot to learn the songs. We had a gig last weekend in Kentucky, and it was the first time we had played four of these songs at Merle Fest last April, and but I wasn't really sure how many of the songs we could put into a set, or I'd put some songs I did with Ralph Stanley in there too, since they said that when they were kids they listened to that record,
Hmm.
or the both of them. And so I was listening more intently to this new record to learn the songs and to try to do them justice. So and I have listened some to some of the Ralph Stanley things recently, and just have real fond memories of recording them, and uh, really vividly remember being in the studio those times with him and the band, the Clinch Mountain Boys. Um,
Hmm.
and then the record, I've been the Robert Hunter stuff. There were, when I'm doing my solo thing, sometimes I also listen to a song or two to think, hey, I want to try to work this one up. And so I get uh, really deep into listening to those sometimes, just to, but other than that, I'm like thinking, okay, I need to finish this thing or that. And so I still feel in a lot of ways, and I've said this before, like I'm a new artist
Hmm.
in a lot of ways, you know what I mean? And so
I love that.
uh, so I still have a lot to finish.
Hmm.
This is Flowers on the Stage, a podcast about being creative and finding success. To support it, please check out our sponsors, New Belgium Brewing, Thrax CBD, and Ticket Relief, the ticketing company that plants trees with a portion of each ticket sold. And now, back to the episode.
Jump in a little bit to the side here. I'd love to hear what you can share that you've come to learn about living a life you can be proud of, and like what advice you could share for maybe younger people listening, or even myself, about living life where you can look back and really say, yeah, I'm proud of this life.
Boy, that's an ongoing thing, and I don't. I when I was younger, I used to think I didn't think I would live very long, and but then I have, in the scheme of things, and but I thought, like Graham Parsons and Hank Williams Sr. and some of these guys that I really idolized, that there would be this intensity to life musically, and that was kind of what everything I put everything into music. And I think, and I'm not really sure if I can say uh, I've matured emotionally. I hope I'm slow. It's been very slow. I think I'm kind of a embarrassingly and regrettably kind of a late bloomer in some ways, where I should have grown up more, you know, at a young age. And so I hope that I get the chance. Um, I've got a song I haven't finished called With the Life That's Left in Me. I'm going to try. And boy, so many, we keep losing people, of course, every year. And I do want to live life to the full, uh, to the goodness, to um, it's something I guess we all need to do, but I sure do. I'm learning still how to live, really, in um in a way, excuse me, that uh, to be proud of.
I love your like beginner's mind with all of with everything, you know. It's like each day is day zero.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
the way it is for us. Yeah.
And looking back at your career, your accomplishments, you know, Grammys, big crowds, amazing, legendary collaborators, like what if you learn ultimately brings you the most real, true fulfillment?
I think that it's those little things in life, um, and those just it's moments sometimes really where um, it all kind of makes sense in some ways. I mean, things don't make sense very often. For me, at least, those moments are very rare and fleeting in some ways. And maybe we all go through this, but I will sometimes feel like, okay, this peaceful time, peaceful moment. Okay, I'm going to keep this with me now. I have, this is the way I want it to always be. And then, boom, next thing you know, it's Stressville again. Um, I find that sometimes with my Qigong practice, that it gives my brain and my mind something to uh, refocus on. Um, I find that for myself, um, I just I guess my thought patterns or whatever latch on to the chaotic, stressful things, uh, and it seems like that in life it's a never-ending series of things thrown at you all the time. And I've got a song for my record called Hope, and it's called Breathe Real Slow. And one of the lyrics, of course, breathe real slow. Life is coming at you. Breathe real slow. And that helps me is during those times of like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this anymore, and what is going on out there in the world, what in the and so it helps me to just kind of uh, reflect a little bit, breathe, quiet my mind. But it's not an easy thing. I've got a long way to go with that, and even though I practice that and Tai Chi and some different Chinese internal arts, yeah, I'm definitely I've been doing it for a long time, but I realize, and it helps a lot. But I'm definitely a beginner at that. I've not mastered anything in this world. Um, I think, what's that saying, like, do something 10,000 times and you're good at it. So sometimes I feel like when I'm playing with a honky tonk band or a bluegrass band, or I'm playing solo someplace, that sometimes for me is like a practice of these internal healing arts. Is that it's like, okay, I feel it now. This is great. I'm able to integrate this with what I've been doing for years and years, but I'm feeling, I've got this different thing I'm adding to my part of it that makes me feel really connected with the audience and with the music.
Mm. Well, Jim, it's so humbling and so great to get to talk with you and hear your
You
take
too.
on all the above. Yeah. And yeah, everyone out there listening, we got links in the description. Find Jim's new album as well as his upcoming tour dates. all that good stuff. Following him on socials. So yeah, Jim, couple kind of like rapid fire questions as
Okay.
we're wrapping up here.
Sure.
What have you learned are the most important qualities for a great leader to have?
Boy, I'm not a great leader. So, but the ones that I think are that I've observed are they understand people and they kind of intuitively or through learning that it's just like, hey, somebody needs to lead the charge on this thing or lead the way. There's this person or a group of people that need to be walked through this door to another room or to get across this road or cross this bridge, and somebody needs to gather them up and take them across. I think that there are certain communication skills, and there's certain uh, I think in the music business, which is probably like so many other businesses, but um, it it is fraught. I feel with, like with a lot of turmoil, disappointment, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of things will go wrong, and there are so many relational aspects of it that there are a lot of things you have to, you could end up just yelling at somebody and whatever, and then you're gonna, if you're still working with them tomorrow, you have to be aware that's like, hey, I just chewed this person out or I got chewed out. And so, but darn it, we're going to be working together for a while, or I'm having a disagreement with somebody in the band, or somebody's driving me nuts, or I'm, whatever. And then you're going to be traveling with that person. And that person, though, is also doing a great job at what they're doing. And so I think, and to make a long story interminable with this rapid fire answer I'm giving you, is that with people you're working with, or you have to consider the other person, I guess, too. What are they going through? And how can you communicate to that person if you aren't happy with something? How is a way you can talk to them, not in a patronizing way? I've got this term I use sometimes called Andy Griffith psychology. And growing up watching the Andy Griffith show, he seemed to be such a master at, when somebody was just, an Ernest T. Bass character, or Barney, or Opie, or whoever, but to kind of see this bigger picture and to be able to, maybe, instead of pointing out these other people's foibles, get them to see this positive side of what, oh, you had this idea, and then to give that person some good feeling about what they're doing, I guess. And so I think, and a lot of this, what you're answering, I mean, boy, sometimes I just cringe at some of the things with, just lessons or people or interactions with people in life, that it's just like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done this a different way. And so when those chances come up again, it's like I've learned the hard way. I've made the mistakes, to say, hey, I'm going to do something different now.
And it's like, now's a redemption opportunity.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd love to hear if you had to recommend 3 of your own songs as a way to get to know you, which 3 would you pick?
Hmm. Um, I would say one would be Lost in the Lonesome Pines, a bluegrass song I wrote for Ralph Stanley and I to sing together. Um, You Don't Seem to Miss Me, that Patty Loveless and George Jones did. Um, and maybe King of Broken Hearts, that's a song I wrote as a tribute to Graham Parsons and George Jones. Uh, and then and then a couple more. Now I can't just, but one would be a song off of Hope called "The Opportunity to Help Somebody Through It," because it's a different sounding song, and then a country song called "That Kind of Life, That Kind of Day."
Mm. And my last question for you here, hypothetically, let's say you live to be 101 and a half or something like that, 100 years old. What do you think 100-year-old Jim would say to you today?
You mean the looking back, like if that 100-year-old Jim was kind of like this ghost of Christmas future type
Right.
thing,
You got a
saying,
little
um,
ghost
I,
telephone.
I, uh, hmm, I guess that ghost would say to the 66-year-old me, 100-year-old would say, keep at it, kid. Don't be discouraged. Don't give up.
Operative word is kid.
Yeah, but I do, it's funny. I still go through those times of intense discouragement, and and I think for anybody out there, when we go through those times, uh, it is to just keep going, and to know that it always does seem to lighten up at some point, even though we all have to endure these, awful periods and things. And I'm, gosh, I watch too much news, but I want to be informed. I do, that was something that I kind of started doing, I guess, in my 30s, was just to try to, it's like, hey, I don't really know what's going on out there. So I want to be informed. I think sometimes there's a good cap per day of us news junkies that it's like, okay, I think, all right, I know what's going on now today out there in the world pretty much. I will check back in 7 hours or tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, and I'll be interested to see what else is going on, because I sometimes I get too carried away with it, with all the minutia of things that I don't need to. I'm not a I'm not a social media guy. I have somebody that does it, and I definitely see the value of it. And things are different these days, I get, as far as all the biz stuff. But I just don't. I'm kind of a Luddite. I don't. When I first started writing with Robert Hunter in '96, uh, I didn't know how to. I kept putting off. Hey, I don't want to learn how to get on the internet. I don't want to learn how to use a computer. So I finally did, but I'm not very. I'm still very rudimentary in that, embarrassingly enough. But anyway, we have to all balance the time. Whatever we do with our time, it hits me every once in a while when I go, oh wow, these years have flown by. It's already practically October. And it's like, okay, I think we get in those situations too, when you have some kind of a deadline or something is you've got to do you've got to get something done on time, and then when you really have to put your focus and attention on something, it makes you realize it's like, hey, I need to be doing more of this, this is good to, practice this much and write this much and learn these songs.
Totally. Well, hey, Jim, thank you so much for everything, for a life's work, for taking the time here with me. This has been an amazing conversation, man. Thank you.
Cam, thank you. This has been a good run through for the taping today. All right, I'm ready to start. Let's go ahead. I'm getting the hang. So let's go ahead and start taping now.
I love it. Hopefully this will inspire a song or a chorus or something like that.
I hope so.
Well, my man,
Well,
great to meet you, Jim.
You too. I look forward to seeing you out there.
Likewise. Take care out there.
You too. Bye-bye.
I'm Katie Daly, producer of Flowers on the Stage. This episode is brought to you by New Belgium Brewing.
Música, música.